Movie review. Last Train to Gunhill, released in 1959 and directed by John Sturges. It's a western and it stars Kirk Douglas as Marshal Matt Morgan. Anthony Quinn is Craig Belden. Earl Holman is Craig's son Rick. Viva Radan is Matt's wife, Native Indian Catherine Morgan is her character, and we also meet Matt's son Petty, who is significant at the beginning of the movie. We're on a deserted trail, and Catherine is returning from an Indian reservation with her son on a horse-drawn buggy. Two drunks, namely Rick Belden and a friend, are running around on horseback, and they decide to follow her and harass her. This leads to a clearing where they then start to verbally abuse her. She replies by whiplashing Rick and creating a scar on his, creating blood on his cheekbone. This then leads to her being raped and murdered in full view of her son. Her son manages to steal a horse and returns home to tell his father. At that point, we have a very angry marshal who's intent on finding what's happened. He goes to the area and finds his dead wife. We are then looking at him trying to track down the murderer. Now, as it so happens, there's history between Douglas and Quinn. They have in the past been sort of acquaintances, and because the boy stole the horse, it appears quite clearly that the saddle on the horse is one that's owned by Quinn. So Douglas then proceeds to go out to the ranch where Belden is there, explains the circumstances, but Quinn, although sympathetic, is unwilling to accept that possibly his son might be responsible. And so we're then at an impasse, and Quinn, although trying to maneuver some safe ground, Morgan is emphatic that the boy must be handed over and justice to prevail. Quinn's love for his son, albeit a son who is now murdered and raped, is significant, and we are into a standoff. What then follows is that Quinn heads down to Gunhill, the town where Belden does all his business. The town, all the businesses in the town are owned or partly owned by Belden. He is a significant player in the area, and we then get to a scenario where the good is trying to triumph over the bad, and Morgan manages to track down the son and holds him up in a hotel. That's basically how the plot evolves. It obviously moves on from that to the climax, but I'm not going to plot spoil that. You've got the gist of it. It has two great performances by Douglas and Quinn. Of course, they had recently teamed up to play Lustful Life, so they were pretty familiar with each other, and they were very good together. The magnetism is clearly seen. in the lighter moments and in the more serious moments, and it's definitely a big plus with regard to the movie. Otherwise, it's a pretty standard fare type of western with the good and the bad. Give it a watch. It doesn't really explore much about the roles. These men throughout the film are terribly macho, egocentric, and don't add a lot to that stereotype. However, if you are a fan of westerns, then you will enjoy this movie. So, Last Train to Gunhill, and it was released in 1959.